Where we enter now is a new form, or rather, a new way of living. After some time in Haven, you've grown accustomed to well, not needing to die every now and then, not needing to be revived every now and then. But thanks to the circumstances you now find yourself in, you are now 2 weeks outside of Haven, and even further outside of any other location. This is known as the Baron's Estate, or the Baron's House. Ramon's uncle, yes, I believe so, through marriage, left this estate to him quite some time ago, but it hasn't really been used. Entering now, this is the only real place you can use outside of the area. It is safe and it is located in a more or less safe environment. While the house itself hasn't been touched, the area isn't exactly what you would call green. Provided there is a water silo, and a strange tree is the only thing that seems to be, well, alive in this area. Ramon then looks at the rest of the group before entering inside. He then states, "Alright, thank you for coming. This is roughly everyone that has decided to enter into this bit of situation we have here. Some of you might know each other, some of you I have worked with before, and others still we have yet to actually meet. Before we enter inside, I would like to state this. As things go on, as things move forwards, we do have to work as a team here and now. While most of you I've been able to send into an area where it's safe, that is no longer the case. I am unfortunately not able to send you into locations that would be safe locked. I won't be able to give you the best options, but I will be able to provide you with as much information as I can, which is better than nothing in most cases. But if you don't act as a team, either new or old, you will not last long here. Some of you have been roaming nomads for some time before entering into Haven, and others have your own histories. Regardless of that, you now, I'm afraid, have to work as a team. Whether you're here for money or here for your own vendetta, as long as we get the job done, we will do so." He then presents what appears to be a case, more or less. He opens them, and there's small divots inside where pertains a crystal. Each of these crystals will allow you access into the area, but each one has to be inscribed with your own DNA. Your blood or a piece of your hair will do, but once inscribed, it cannot be rewritten. Anyone that wears these, and that's not you, will be locked in place. And the security system will alert us to someone trying to enter inside. Whether you have the crystal or not, you will be locked out. If you do have the crystal and it's been inscribed, then you should be fine. But anyone or anything else will have a problem getting through. Now then, are there any questions before we begin?
How does it fare against teleportation?
Think back on when we had a situation in Haven. Similar to that, you aren't able to get inside. However, this has been modified. This barrier is to make sure that nothing enters in or out, whether dead or alive. And it will, in a sense, throw you out. Or paralyze you if you're weak enough.
How does it fare against telepathic communication? Are we still allowed to communicate while out inside of it, or?
Unfortunately, since we no longer have the hub, you will be roughly the badges that you have. Well, the crystals rather. I'm afraid I can't assign you any badges, but the crystals themselves can assign roughly 30 feet of message range. Outside of that, it can no longer go beyond this.
And Arc tablets, do they function?
The tablets have rudimentary functionality. They can call one another, and their range is limited out here, but it is still possible. You can call either the home base or one another, but that's probably the best you can do. Anything outside of this either is enemy territory or a habitat for something else.
Okay, be on your guard at all times. Understood. I mean, I knew that.
All right. Do each of you take a crystal?
Indeed.
I mean, do we really have... We have to take it to get into the house, right?
Yes.
Galen
Not
takes a
like-
crystal.
You take it.
Rome takes a crystal, and he cuts a bit of his hair off and puts it on it.
Yeah, Rialto uses her hair too.
Yeah, I mean, the share works.
Hair does work. Any DNA sample really works. A flake of your skin.
So pretty much when we touch him? No.
Pretty much, yeah. But it needs enough of DNA sample,
Okay.
which is why he mentioned hair and blood.
Okay.
The 5 members underneath and the other individuals that are not physically present but still here do take one as well. Kind of have to. Alright then. Let's enter inside. Copy and paste. Each of you enter into the area and you do feel that something is hitting your frame, but it doesn't prevent you from entering inside. You just can tell that something is forcing you back. If it weren't for the crystal you imagine, you would likely be deadlocked in place. Either that, or maybe you're strong enough to bypass it, in which case you'd be flung somewhere.
Seems like good bubble.
Okay. As long as Ramon knows you're there or will be there, he would have someone waiting.
I think the only one that would is Chrome. So unless I've mentioned it, then it's out of my hands. It's up to her.
He would have mentioned to Ramon at least that he's waiting on someone else, but they said that they had to go do something first.
All right. He then, I suppose he would assign someone out there to keep watch. Actually, no. He would have to do something in the room. Actually, entering inside to the facility, you do see that it's a quite nice estate. However, mentioning beforehand, Ramon then goes, "All right, feel free to look around. We do have an upstairs as well. But right now I need to set things up to allow the last member to enter inside. Or at least not to prevent them from entering inside."
Is it dusty as hell?
Oh yeah, you can tell that nothing's been touched since who knows how long.
Rome immediately starts fucking cleaning shit up. Starts dusting everything, all that kind of shit.
Alright, it's gonna take a while, but it is possible. But everything in here seems to be well, I wouldn't say well taken care of, but it has seen better days. But other than the dust, you can tell that it is quite immaculate. Whoever was, or is, you don't really know if he's dead or alive, just Ramon's uncle, is very wealthy. But you do see some of the NPCs, some of your team members, rather, do explore.
I guess we should get to know them. Kind of want to see what the deal with the defenses is.
I mean, it's up to you to decide what to do. But some of them do stick around, while others explore the outskirts of the building.
Alright, I'll bite. Who are you then, now that we are to be working as team? To the strangers around Byron.
Alright.
Yes, that includes Chrome, really.
Yeah, he does.
Caitlin just fucks off.
Caitlin just looks off. Ramon,
Do the
warning. What was that?
Do the NPCs want to go first? Oh.
I was just waiting until someone spoke up. But if you want, the NPCs can go first.
Yeah, because Chrome's a bit busy cleaning. He's just prestidigitation everywhere.
This is going to take minutes.
It really is going to take minutes. Alright, I guess the Dragonborn would go first since you're not in the other room. Oh wait, this is in the Dragonborn, I forgot. Looking in front of you, you do see what appears to be a very large Dragonborn, at least at first glance. But this person, whoever or whatever they are, also seems to have a tail which is not... Well, we've never really seen a Dragonborn that often, and you've never really seen one with a tail. Looking at you, he does state, what are my manners? The name's Rust. My companion...
Rust?
Yes. Rather not so fruitful name, but it is one that was given to me.
Call me Byron, don't worry.
My kind doesn't really do with names unless you've earned them. Similarly to titles, but this one is not really one I've earned, just was given. You then see the... I'm not sure if you've ever seen a merfolk, like in-game wise.
I don't think we've been near much water.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Water cold.
The person next to you seems to have scales around their body, almost elven-like features, but they're a little more protruding in other places. She then states, the name's Ula. It's a pleasure, I suppose. Me and Rust have been... Yes, me and Rust have been working jobs here and there in Haven from time to time. We thought might as well help save the people from this. She just looks around. Problem we have right now. Rather not have more bodies in the streets.
Yeah.
Very noble of both of you.
Not really. We only have so many places we can go. Rust then states, quite right. Unfortunately, there are only so many safe havens out there. and we only know of 3 that will allow our kind in. Ula here is a merfolk. Not many people can tend to her needs. There's not that many bodies of water out there. Haven has 1, thankfully, but I'm afraid with the current predicament, we can't exactly idly sit around. I myself, well, I'm technically part dragon. And no, Dragonborns aren't part dragon. Father or mother, I really don't know which one. Mated with a... I believe they called it a... I'm not exactly sure what it mated with, really. I think it might have been a Yangti. Doesn't really matter either way. Gave birth to me, a half dragon, which isn't well looked after or looked fond of. So I was quickly tossed aside, but thankfully enough, Ula and her family were kind enough to take me in. Grew up with her, might as well help her out in life. Basically, I owed her and her family a debt. So I might as well save the people that saved me. That entire thing.
See? Noble.
Not really.
Oh,
Well, if you or Ula ever needs extra water, I assume Merfolk needs also. I have decanter of endless water. So.
Thanks. I won't die, at least not soon. But this area should work for now. I did see the silo of water outside, and it should work out for a good amount of time. As long as I can drink every now and then, I should be fine.
Okay, well, keep an eye on it. It's dry out there. I assume it's dry out there.
It is quite dry
Said
out there.
this.
You surprised that one tree in the front yard is even still verdant? Well, it's not verdant green.
Eventually, I'm gonna go back out there and mess around with that stuff.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why Kaylin just shouted out Bard.
No.
It's the thing that fucked the dragon.
It's a
No.
bard!
He really doesn't
For
know.
now.
But in the distance, Caitlin is currently going into the kitchen for some reason.
The least familiar room in the house to her.
She's
use this
spamming
for
that prestidigitation.
But Chrome, you've pretty much taken care of this room after after Ula and Rust have introduced themselves.
And just claps his hands together to get the remaining dust off his hands and just goes, "Oh, apologies, allow me to introduce myself properly. I go by Chrome Delacroix. It's a pleasure to meet you." And he holds out a hand to both of them.
Shake hand.
Shake, shake.
My name's Rialta.
I'm known as Spyro.
It's a pleasure to meet you both, and I hope we can work well with one another. Doing nothing much. I'm just a human from Lynn.
And I remember you at the trial. You spoke well.
It's just something I usually do. I'm just more or less curious with other places and how they work. A bit strange for me to see the opposite effect going on in Haven. Usually in Lynn, it's just the humans that they don't particularly like very much.
Sensible place. I mean, yes, it's sad that Haven is going the opposite direction. Seems to be.
Yes.
You hear Russ just smirk at that?
I'm sure this, what do they call it? Not the Wildlands?
Currently, this is just known as part of the Forbidden Zone. You've didn't ask where you currently are, but you do know that it is called, let's see here, looking at my map. I have had to do that for a while. Ember's Folly.
Sure, Ember's Folly is going to be quite different place from either of the cities you're used to.
I've travelled a lot though. I'm. I guess the word for a travelling performer, although I guess that's not quite the phrase I would use now. I've gone on to different hobbies. I was staying at Haven, participating with the school.
So you have travelled through the Forbidden Zone before?
A couple of times.
It would be good to have.
All right. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. I said something and then forgot it immediately. Ramon comes over and then states, "All right, that should be about well enough. We should get it. How should I put this? Warning. Roughly a mile before your friend arrives. Don't really know how long it's gonna take them, but we should have notification before they get here."
This place seems to have quite sophisticated magical defenses.
No, I just extended the range of warning. Think of it as, I'm sure you've noticed some items can give warning signals in case you're asleep and someone's going to attack you, or you are about to be hit by a trap.
I'm aware of such spells, yes.
Similar to that. I just extended the range. Would have taken me a lot less time, but I have to work with what we have.
It's like an old DOS machine in the back.
Yeah, pretty much. In the distance, you do hear noises. If it, you only heard them when the room was open, so you can clearly tell the room is soundproof. But when he opened it, it was very loud.
Sorry, Ramon. Something just crossed my mind. A question, more or less. So I'm pretty sure they're known as scrying spells. Would they work inside this area, or is it blocked off?
Scrying into this area would be blocked off, but scrying out shouldn't be an issue.
It's nice to know.
Yes, it's... my uncle has, or still is technically, rather secure in his security. But he'd rather not limit himself, so he is very cautious, but thankfully enough that works with what we need. So we're not limited, but we are still stuck out here until we finish things off. Once your friend comes in, I will have to make a call to an informant I've recently come into contact with. But when they arrive and when my informant arrives, we can get started. Ula then states, do you know if the water basin has been filled? Yes, thankfully enough, no one really uses the area. So it still should be filled. Just in case, I will monitor it to make sure that we are not dead by next week. Is that a joke?
Endless water.
I am not that great at jokes, yes. And Byroth does have his decanter. So it should be fine, but if it does somehow run out, one of us will have to spend a night filling it up. But it should be alright. Alright. You do see that Ula does carry like 5 decanters. They're not endless, obviously, but she does carry like 5 of them.
wineskins or something?
Yeah, pretty much. However, Chrome, Relta, Byroth, Rust, and Ula all take note that the pink-haired woman's just currently looking outside the door.
She's just leaning against the wall.
Okay, I'm just gonna make it more leany-wise.
Sorry, I can't flip the token.
It's all okay.
just head in the corner.
My screen was up too high. I didn't even know there was somebody down there.
Don't
There's
worry.
another part of the house. I was like, oh.
Don't worry about it. But in the distance, Caitlin does hear. Well, I'm just gonna give you their names because you probably never introduced yourselves to them. Drake, the one in the middle, then looks towards Pala, while Pala is currently eating something. Drake looks at her and simply states, "So, what do you think of all this?" It's interesting. It's something I've not been used to, but you know, they all seem nice. What do you think, Tallow? The bird cleric, you assume? Anyone that's listening in? Caitlin, you're in the kitchen, but you're not that far away. You couldn't hear this. Tallow then states, "Seems different, but different doesn't seem to be bad. They seem nice, and as long as we help, we can go back to Haven and not die out here." Pala then states, "Well, that is why we're here. Drake, do you know anything about these people?" "I know rumors and clues, but nothing concrete. From what I've heard, these people, half the crew has helped out Haven and saved it. The other half seem to be volunteers, but they don't seem to be weak. Alright, we can at least work with them. I don't know. What do you think, Tallow?" As long as we get the job done, I suppose we can just go back to Haven. But while we're out here, we might as well collect a few things here and there." "That sounds about right. Might as well make sure if we do get kicked out, we don't die immediately." Drake then states, "What do you think about that one, the one that entered into the kitchen?" "She is interesting. I've never met someone that smelled so arcane." Tallow then states, "She doesn't seem to be alive. She smells different, but she doesn't smell right." Pala then states, "We'll have to keep an eye on her, but for the most part, she seems well enough." As the three continue to eat.
What are they eating?
You don't know. You just left. But from what you can tell, or before you left, you did see a spread of meats, preserved foods here and there. It all kind of looks stale, I'm not gonna lie.
It's just covered in dust.
And they're all talking about the way you smell.
From what
Bad duck.
From what you can tell, they were eating the more well-preserved foods.
So there is food here.
There is food here, yes.
I'm gonna go make
Like-
food.
Oh, like you know how.
Okay. Can I roll my my proficiency?
Sure.
I know how to fucking cook.
My god.
Entering into the area, you do see some preserved foods. You do see some potatoes that have the roots already growing out. Some onions that have the roots already growing out. Some things that aren't preservable. So you pretty much just toss those out. Actually, do you take note of when you throw them into the trash can, or do you just toss them in and then continue on?
I will look to make sure the trash can isn't full before I throw it in there.
The trash can isn't full. In fact, it's the only thing that's actually clean. So you dump it in, and taking a look, you do see that the food just disappears.
Hey, that's one way to clean the dishes.
Yeah. But after that, you do seem to find more stocked items and food around here, and are able to make a decent meal, decently sized as well.
I'm making stew
Yum.
in a pie.
Nice. For the amount of people here, you can easily make enough food to feed them all if you so choose. If not, it's a quaint little meal.
I'm making enough for everyone.
All right. Right around this time when you're cooking and everyone else is talking, you do hear a signal in the house. It's not like a blaring alarm, because Ramon accounted for that, but you do hear, let's see if I have it. No, I don't have it in time. You do hear a boop, boop, which is weird. But then Ramon simply states, alright, they should be here. If memory serves, that is the alarm. Well, it's the warning alarm. Let me go check as he opens the door.
And we'll follow outside.
Yeah, you guys can go outside.
They're a mile away, but sure. Go talk to that tree.
Saying that like I ain't dusting the outside as well.
Trying to dust the desert.
These fucking windows must be filthy.
They kind of are. Not even gonna lie. Let's see.
Oh, I forgot to put him out because he can't come inside. Yeah, there you go, buddy. It's gonna be hot.
Ah, yes, the guard dog.
Actually, I could make him a dire wolf, so that maybe.
Byroth and Ralta, do you two also go outside?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
check out the tree.
'Cause
Well,
I know Ralta wanted to check out the tree. Chrome would likely clean the area.
I'm cleaning the fucking windows.
No, he's a dire wolf. I'm finding the token right now.
Some
Yeah,
goddamn
check-
sunlight in the air.
By a window, you do hear Ramon open it, and you do hear blaring, not a blaring alarm, but you do hear mechanical constructs in the distance. It's not so jarring that you wouldn't be able to sleep at night, but he's had better equipment. To the rest of you, he does state, alright, that should be them. So far, I see no hostility signals. Ramon then does give the description of, the person, which should be Rex's new character. Unless I'm wrong,
Haha, I pulled a sneaky on you.
I might be wrong because I opened the wrong one. And I opened the wrong one again. Rex, can you just...
I can't see any character sheet on there anyway. Character token on there anyway. I see Realtors. And I see the Pegasus.
I ain't see shit over there either, buddy. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to curse.
It's
I don't
fine,
see
I
shit
don't
over there
care.
anyways, buddy.
I can't find your character token. Or I keep opening up backups of your guys' backups.
Oh, give me a second.
Okay, I think I found it. Is it question mark, question mark? Oh yeah, yeah it is. Alright. Entering into the area, question mark, why is there 2 Pegasus now?
That's not the most important thing.
Now there's
Pegasi?
3 on my screen for a minute.
Okay, entering into the area, rumored stranger, you do take note that there is a tiefling with a cat on their head looking at a tree. They do notice you, and you can clearly tell that Chrome is currently cleaning a fence. Baroth is just looking out, and
I guess I'll go to Ramon and get the crystal key that this guy needs.
I'll
that would make sense.
stop looking at the tree and wave hello.
Alright.
My character would simply walk up and give a nod at Chrome's direction when he looks at her.
Okay. Entering inside Byroth, you easily grab the crystal.
And come back. So, Chrome, this is your associate?
Sorry, Mike's was muted. Yeah, she's just, she graciously offered her work. We've been work associates before, but, it's nice to see you again, Lady Versky. And, he will go through the process of explaining to her that there's a barrier around the, house and that she needs to put a bit of her DNA on to get verified to come in and out.
Lady Vesky, and I offer the key.
She would inquire as to whether or not that's really necessary. If it's a mandatory ordeal for her to have one of these keys.
If we're talking about meetings inside, it would be safer, but if you want to stay outside, it wouldn't be entirely necessary. It's more so that we wouldn't be detected inside. So if you want to be included on meetings and stuff like that about situations, you don't have to stay inside.
Do they have any stalking traits?
I'm not particularly sure. I've also got one, and Chrome will show his one.
She is going to eye it suspiciously.
Alright. As you're eyeing it suspiciously, you do take note that there is a dragon? No, wait. You're more familiar with the underground circuit. You do know that coming out is a dragonkin. The man comes out, waves, takes off his hat, and goes, "Name's Rusty. How's it going? You the new guy in town?"
She would look up, acknowledge them with a sort of a nod and in sort of agreement as to they are, and again over the crystal. Can it be used to locate the owners of them, is what I'm asking.
I can ask Ramon for you if you'd like.
It would be wise. I'm not particularly sure of the situation.
You do hear...
It might...
Oh shit, the Raven couldn't come in either.
You do hear Ramon, as he opens the window after Rusty clacks on it. The whirling machines... it's a small conversation, so they don't shout, but he does come back. From what I'm told, they do not. It's a simple security measure to enter inside the house and not be targeted while inside the house.
Incite him.
Okay.
I don't know why that was whispered.
I don't know. But he's telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. As far as he knows. You sense no malice. In fact, you've... I haven't gotten a chance to read your backstory. But this guy seems to be one of the most truthful people you've ever met.
Would I have incited Ramon about it? Like, from general posture from where I am?
Sure.
Give me a second.
The giant direwolf.
I don't know why you're whispering things.
Bork.
But it's fine. From
Yeah,
what-
sorry.
It's all good. From what you can tell, Ramon is telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You've never met. No, that's a lie. You've met Ramon, at least in the circumstance of court. He seems genuine.
They travelled with Ramon as well for 2 weeks, if that helps.
Krim will simply turn to Versky and say, well, if it does track, we find out it's tracking at the end of the day, I'll help you get rid of said tracking along with myself. I'll do it for free as well, don't worry about that.
Ramon, go ahead.
No, you first.
Oh, Ramon's just gonna pop out his head and goes, if it helps, I've made sure that no one can locate you with the crystals. I know that some of you aren't the most upstart gentlemen or ladies out there, and sometimes our work requires espionage work, so I'd rather not have you located and die out on the field. Then he pops his head back inside.
That's acceptable by me for the time being. And she'll outstretch her hand for one of the crystals.
And we'll hand it over.
Okay. Fire off easily hands it over. Chrome picks it up, hands it over to Versky?
Versky, yeah.
Versky, okay. While this is happening, Vralta, have you been examining the tree?
Yeah.
From what you can tell, it is... How should I phrase this? Well, first of all, there's a giant wolf now behind you. But that's neither here or there.
He's always been there.
He's always been there. But in the tree, you do sense a secondary presence. You are tuned with life here and there. And the tree does present a life, but it does present a secondary life as well. You can roll a nature check, but with your abilities and background, I can see you already knowing what this is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's try.
Examining inside the tree, or at least examining the tree, you do sense a presence inside. Looking at the bark, you do see almost a face, or the way it looks like a face. Examining it, you do detect a non-natural entity inside. This is the home of a dryad. And the dryad is currently home. If you had to guess, this is one of the measures Ramon's uncle has placed, or maybe something else. It doesn't seem to want to hurt you or harm you in any way. It just seems to be
There?
just there. Yeah.
Like sleeping?
Yeah, the best way would be to consider it hibernating.
I guess I'll leave it be for now. I'm not sure what to do with this.
You can ask Ramon, but it is something to consider.
Yeah, I'll go talk to the Barrow about this and Ramon.
Alright. For some reason, the dire wolf is telling you to burn the tree.
And this dire wolf. So this
Demon
dire
dog.
wolf. Where did this dire wolf come from?
It's always
The
been
real
there.
question is, where's Maximilian?
Oh, it's Maximilian. Oh, okay.
You noticed-
Sorry, I got lost for a second and I was like, wait, what?
No, it's fine. While you were traveling here one night, Maximilian disappeared and the dire wolf appeared.
But it has the same presence as Maximilian, right?
This one's a celestial.
Hmm.
His name's Soul.
It has the general same feeling, but different in a way. It still has the Caitlyn aura around it.
How does little kitty feel about Soul?
Kind of doesn't really care.
Alright. Gosh.
But yeah, after that, you do take note that Byroth does hand over the crystal to Versky. Do you use blood, hair? It really doesn't matter.
If they mention it had to have something like that, she'd simply pull out a dagger, prick her finger.
All right. I think everyone else used hair, so you're the only one that notices this. As it touches the crystal, you take note that there is a type of, not magic, but more circuitry. As it enters inside, you see a conglomerate focal points here and there, around 3 of them. So there are 3 charms inscribed. One of them, not Byroth. One of them, Ramon has stated before, so you're easily able to describe that one of the charms is unable to be scryed upon within the house so long as you're wearing the crystal. And likely out on the field. However, there are 2 other charms inscribed in there. One of them is likely to secure security for the house, but the third one you don't know. You can ask about it if you'd like, but the blood sample is the only way to know, or at least physically see these things.
Can I take a spin at an Arcana check if they did that in front of me?
Yeah, any of you can try, as long as you're magic based or have magic. Chrome can try as well.
Yep. Give me a second. Arcana, right?
Yes.
Okay, everyone's showing off.
From your best guess, you can tell that it is, let's see. I guess 25 was good enough. The third one seems to be arcane in nature, but it is different. If you had to guess, this is able to help you survive out here, really. Most of the time, the weather is very harsh. Even getting here was an issue. However, with these crystals and that third augmentation inside of it, you believe it's to help fortify your body to make sure you don't die out here from the weather alone. However, if it gets too intense, the crystal can only do so much.
It's like a crystal iodine pill, and this is a nuclear wasteland.
Kind of, yeah.
I'll explain that to the. This is a. No, I won't actually. I don't know that. Rialto knows that.
What do I know? What?
That the third spell is basically like just to help keep us here. It's like the air is filled with arsenic or something. It's a little bit of a filter.
Oh, I'll definitely tell you guys that.
Yeah.
And I got distracted by Soul for a second. If I tried to feed him, would he take food from me?
What are you trying?
Some of my, I don't know if I have like a meat ration in my freaking thing. I don't know.
You would.
He'll eat the meat ration.
Alright, give him some of that. And go back to what I was doing. Yeah, paying attention. Sorry.
It's all good. You basically, if you want, tell people what you discovered about the crystal. Totally
Yeah, I
you.
definitely do.
Okay. So you're easily able to tell that this is to help you survive out here. But Ramon does come out the normal way. And he does state, alright, my contact should be arriving in roughly an hour, so if you don't mind stepping inside, and we can go into the eating quarters. I believe it's called not the kitchen, the dining room.
Dining room would be correct.
I don't eat often inside the house.
A slight laughing from Scar.
Room will simply.
Why is your bird flying around?
It's an intimidation. In fact, he's trying to scare.
Scare who?
Soul.
Where's Scar? Where's Scar? What is Scar?
Scar is the raven.
Oh my god, I can't even see that. I'll try to
Did the
get
bird
some
actually fly
refresh
around though,
Scar
dropkick?
too.
It can't fly through there. I accidentally clicked over there.
Yeah, no, did it actually fly around the character?
Versky?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just flying around, doing stuff.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, let's look at the bright side.
You can resummon it.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
The
So I
void
hit
don't
it.
have flyby. I mean, you have like 9 opportunities to do so.
I think I hit it.
Oh.
From the hip. Wow.
As the bird is flying around,
More specifically, when it keeps flying past her.
more specifically, while it's flying past your new companion, from what you can tell, actually, Byroth would be able to tell. This is an intimidation factor that some birds use against other creatures. Resky seems to be needing her own space. So as it flies around her, she just pommels it with, I think you have a spear in the image?
Nope. That is a rifle, but I used a pistol to spear it.
You just use the butt of your gun and whack it, causing it to go straight towards Soul. Soul on instincts bites into it, and it just poops.
No, it's Scar. Scar got pooped. So,
Soul bit into him.
Soul's also happy by this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Why the hell is that raven so big, and why is it in the house?
It's a Raven man.
But for continuity, you guys just, what was this Raven's name again? Scar?
Scar.
Scar.
Just gets resummoned.
Hey.
I'd like to think that everyone just kind of watched that bird doing that annoying thing and then watched it get shot and been like,
Yeah.
welcome to the Forbidden Zone.
Didn't even look at it. Pulled out, shot, reholstered.
Fastest draw in the West. Whoosh.
From what you can tell, everyone else, except for a few other people, are in the area. You do take note that there is a pink-haired woman and again, you've been in the underground circuit, and a merfolk, which is quite rare. Here, Ula then states, "Oh, you must be." Ramon comes out. Yes, this is the person we've been waiting for. Hello. Name's Ula. Comes over for a handshake.
I would return the handshake. Lady Versky, it's a pleasure, I'm sure.
Right. Looking towards Rust, and Rust simply states, "She's fine enough. Just don't have any birds around her." I don't use birds, but alright.
Fort.
Ula then states, everyone else except for the. I don't actually know how tall Caitlin is. She was gonna say the rather tall lady, but I don't know how tall you are.
Caitlin's only 5 foot.
Yeah, that would make sense. Everyone else except for the very nice dressed woman is currently in the dining room.
Then let us join them. Oh, Lady Versky, excuse my manners. I am called Pyroth, and this is Rialta.
Hello.
Byroth, I think you've already introduced yourself, but that's fine.
She would nod at you both, and again, it's a pleasure, I'm sure.
Shall we join the others?
Byroth,
go
why are you
find
going
Caitlin.
upstairs? Ah, there you go.
Hold the Alt key, Byros, if you wanted to make it look like you're sitting in the chair.
I did.
Hold it.
Hold it. I feel like I made a terrible mistake. Oh, it just snaps to. Okay.
And somebody told us Caitlin's in the kitchen, right?
Yes.
Alright, I'm gonna go into the kitchen.
Where implausibly the 400-year-old vampire, who is also a noblewoman and employs staff, is making an incredible meal of preserves.
She cooks for Penelope.
I walk in, unexpecting. I don't think I would be expecting that, honestly. I would think that your kitchen staff would have cooked your guys' meals if you needed to cook something.
Yeah.
no,
Oh, they
I guess-
did most of the time.
No. So yeah, first off, I guess I will help you cook. Or I'll ask you if you need help with anything.
She'll hand you a pot.
Alright, I'll help you cook your stew thingy. And then I want to ask you about Soul and why you're having him following me.
So why both of your tokens look like you're drunk?
What do you mean both of my tokens?
Well, I guess technically you're facing the counter, huh? Alright.
Yeah. What do you mean? Soul's following you?
Yeah, it seems like he's following me like little Kitty used to.
Little Kitty was an emotional support animal. Being a druid in the big city, you kind of lose touch with nature. So, I gave you Little Kitty.
Oops. Oops.
I guess I'm standing there. Huh?
Camellia wouldn't sit down, she would be standing.
Ah, one of those types. Let me just flip her
Alright.
horizontal.
Terrible.
Versky's the same, so there's still 2 seats.
Terrible.
Okay. I mean, there's plenty of seats, even though they're not there, but okay.
Rota, can you bring that pot in?
Yep.
That pot into the dining area? It
Yeah.
should be done.
I'll carry the pot into the dining area and place it on the table. I don't know. I put it right in the middle.
All right.
And then I'll go back and see if there's anything else that needs to be brought in.
The other one?
And I'll
Alright.
put it on the other side.
Easily enough, all the food that Caitlin has prepared is out. If Caitlin wants to join in the, I wouldn't call it a levity, but basically meeting.
Hey, this pie, it's definitely levitating. I'm gonna sit down and not eat this pie.
Sit down and nod.
I'm just gonna simply be drinking a wine glass all dinner.
Sit somewhere over here.
I don't know how I would be able to do this. but can I make a check to see if it's poisoned?
I thought about that earlier and then I forgot right now when I had a chance to check both of the pots.
Hang on.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Feels bad, dog.
If you have proficiency in the poisonous kit, it's a lot easier for you.
Yeah.
Or if you have detect poison, that's a perfect spell for this.
Either one, yeah. 22. Chrome, you have. Yeah, I'll just make it simple. You have what appears to be a simple spoon. As you're putting it into your own plate, you can tell that the spoon itself has chemical markers upon it. If it has or detects any type of mineral that shouldn't be there or type of poison that shouldn't belong, it changes colors ever so slightly. That only the person that has it in their hands would be able to detect. It doesn't change colors, mainly because Caitlin never whispered to me, "Hey, I poisoned this." So it's fine.
Check your coat pocket.
This is a receipt for a juice.
Wrong pocket.
Those are my keys. Nope.
Well, that's the wrong code, I mean.
Nope. And the next pocket is my wallet, so I'm afraid no poison.
Shame. It's like I was trying to make a nice meal.
Say that like I don't do this with every meal people give me.
You
I
can,
mean, it's not like Caitlin's gonna be eating it though, so
Yeah.
I guess that could look
Exactly, like the person who made it isn't eating the goddamn meal.
so while people pass the stew around, actually, Rust, surprisingly enough, portions it out for everyone. Even if you're not eating, he does still give you a portion, which is the exact same amount that everyone else gets. He seems to be used to this type of situation, which is a little weird. But he does place it down back on the table. Those of you that are checking for poison, detect no poison.
I mean, if it smells as good as I think at 23 or whatever the roll was, I'd just be suspicious of like, wait, how did you... There was dust everywhere a minute ago. How did... What?
And would also hand bowls to the two females behind him if they don't take them.
A sort of passively polite no thank you hand and head shake.
And he just puts one bowl back on the table. Someone has to eat.
Okay. You then hear that weird sound again, going pop pop. Ramon then states, "All right, we have roughly 10 minutes before my contact arrives. Is there anything you want to discuss before we begin?"
I guess getting everyone's names would be appropriate, wouldn't it?
Seems
We have
well
not
to
met
do.
these three yet. Hello, and Byroth. Who are you three on the other side who we haven't met?
The one to the farthest right states the name's Pala. Pleasure, I'm sure. The one to her middle states the name's Drake. Pleasure. Tallow then states, Tallow? I'm a bird person. Hi. Drake then states, Tallow doesn't go out much. Yeah, don't like outside. Outside hurts.
Okay, but I think the
Agreed.
next little while is going to be tricky for you then.
He looks downtrodden. I know. Ula then states, I'm Ula, pleasure. Rust then states, the name's Rust. I've met some of you I've seen before. How's it going? Ramon then states, the name's Ramon. I'm currently the acting former director of Section 9, currently acting, I suppose, leader of your gang don't really know what to call this other than, according to our actual report, are known as hunters.
Squad, pack. I think you're
The paperwork states we're hunters as we're hunting down wanted criminals, so either way, whatever you like to call yourselves.
My name is Caitlin Ulahana, as Tala would call me, the one with the weird smell.
He just looks more downtrodden. Drake then states, he's very perceptive with sense.
And my
That's good.
apologies. I am Crone Delacroix, and the lovely lady behind me is known as Lady Fursky.
I think the last one would be Relta.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Rialta. I was like, I was waiting. I was like, wait, it's my turn. Sorry.
I think Byralt started, and then it just went weird on the
Gotcha.
other side.
I'm so sorry.
Nope, it was Caitlin then Chrome. Then actually,
I'm sorry I got lost. It was my fault.
it's fine.
No, it's because I threw to the other player or other side of the table immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then I was about to say it, and then I was like, wait.
But that's all right. Ramon then states, now then, as mentioned before, you are all here to take on this job. A few of you will be inside the area to make sure that everything is fine, and to make sure not everyone is lost out there. Primarily, our mission is to make sure that not everyone dies in Haven, that whoever is responsible for this actually pays for their crime. Right now, I'm an informant about to enter inside. Well, I have to meet them outside, but we'll enter inside eventually to discuss matters at hand. Before we begin, I'd like to discuss a few things if you need discussing. I know some of you've met before, and I know some of you know each other. But in order for you to survive out here, you wouldn't have to work as one would work with a teammate. So if there's something you need to discuss or have to discuss, feel free to do so now before a secondary party enters inside.
No helmets at the table, Byroth.
Yeah. I'll Iron Man it down so I'm shirtless and wearing an iron belt and a loincloth. There you go, kid.
Oh my.
I said helmet, not armor clothes.
Oh yeah, no. So, Caitlin, we're done with the perhaps using your sword to manipulate people. We're done with that, huh?
Using her sword to do what?
There was this question earlier of the sword's influence on Caitlin, some bad decisions. But we're done
I'll
with
call
that
people
now,
at 2
right?
a.m. What? What happened? I heard it like 3 times.
Oh, I was just saying, kind of passive aggressively. We're done with using the sword to manipulate people on the team.
Sword to manipulate you. Poppycock.
No, the sword can. Well, yeah. We don't want it to manipulate you either, right? We're done with sword manipulating people. Yes.
We'll see when my armor's no longer cursed. Looks at Relta.
Rialta just pets little kitty.
You have your answer.
Super reassured.
Rauta, while you put Little Kitty down, you do hear something inside your head. It's distinct and it's clear. You can hear the voice of the blade that you possess. Simply put, it states, if the action continues, the curse will continue. If it does not, it will not.
I look to Caitlin and I say, if you stop what you're doing, then it will stop.
Stop what I'm doing. All I do is prepare a nice meal.
It's all up to you when you want the curse to stop. And I'll just leave it at that.
Until the curse is over, my fighting ability is cut by 75%.
So, Azagma, am I to understand that if she's just honest and truthful, pretty much and doesn't use her weapon against us, she won't be cursed anymore?
Basically. So that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information for someone who doesn't know about the sim play to take. Just sat here like,
Oh gosh. I just laugh and I'm like, it's really up to you, Caitlin, when you want that to stop. You just have to be truthful with us and it's up to you.
I am being truthful. I did just prepare a nice meal.
As that said, you hear 3 pings. Ping, ping, ping. Similar to the first initial ping, Ramon then states, alright, they should be here soon. I better go let them in.
Appreciate the effort, kid. I can taste the honesty in every bite.
That's the beef.
Yeah, I wondered how does this meal taste?
Surprisingly enough, it does taste rather well. However, there's a lot of iron in it.
yes, I could taste the blood.
Oh, God.
You can thicken a stew with blood. It makes it almost chocolatey in appearance. It's crazy.
If you cook it long enough, yeah.
That's just called being Scottish.
Yeah. I forgot the actual name of the stew I was thinking of, so I just made a brief pass of that. But beyond that, you do hear, actually you do feel, since each of you have a crystal, something bypassing the security system. So the person's here. So if there's anything else you need to discuss, you're more than welcome to.
I don't know, I think I'm good for now, I guess.
All right.
Team faces on.
I tried to help.
Entering inside, you do see Ramon, but after that, you also then see a secondary person.
Oh, make sure you keep the iron in your blood.
Oh, look.
Oh, look, it's William.
I thought he turned down that offer of 2,000 gold a month.
Our fucking 10 gold a month we're getting. Not to go 2 gold a month.
He only turned it down in front of his current employers.
Yours is 10 a week, dropkick.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you guys are
Making bank.
To be fair, 10 is a lot for non-common folk. Well, for common folk.
For non-humans.
For anyone, really.
Isn't it 1 gold a day for an aristocratic lifestyle?
Yeah, for like a year.
Hey.
But that's neither here nor there. Ramon then looks towards the rest of you. Now then, before some of you bite into your blades. This is Will, the informant I spoke of. Hey, it's been a while. Hey, Rautep, sorry I haven't called. Been
How's
busy.
it been going? Yeah.
Pretty well, actually. After I left, Ramon got into contact with the Blue King. He got in contact with me. I got a very nice not septum. What's the word?
Settlement?
Settlement package. So
Severance.
Severance package, thank you. So I decided to help out. Either
Nice to
way,
know that you're playing both sides, Will.
You have some context for who exactly this is.
Ramon then
One of the-
states. Oh, unless Caitlin
Oh.
wants to go.
I was gonna be very flatline on who he is.
Okay, go for it.
He's the very nice gentleman who helped in blowing up the city.
Actually, he only helped the people who do it escape. We had very nice chat.
Very long.
Okay, good
detailed
first
chat.
introduction. Continue, Ramon.
Lots of
Right.
information.
Well, he's the informant I've spoke of. He's here to provide us with as much information as possible so we don't miss anything, as well as our targets. While, yes, he did work for the enemy team, he is a mercenary like some of you are hired out. It's not to say that you're bad or that you're not bad, but a mercenary goes with the highest coin. But since he is not technically our enemy, I wouldn't suggest to trust him simply to hear him out, as that's what we're paying him for. Beyond that, it is up to you to decide what to do after. Will then states, that's pretty much the gist of it. Whether you like me or not, honestly, it really doesn't matter. Because the information I need to give you is information that needs to be given. After that, you can decide whether you like me or not. That is honestly your own prerogative. But if you want to know, I'm not technically a bad guy, but I have been hired to do bad things. Not that
Evil's
that
always
helps.
subjective, William.
I prefer Will, but if you want to call me William, that's fine.
I'll alternate.
Either way. So,
Okay. So before we begin, Will, would you mind subjecting yourself to a zone of truth?
fine by me.
Yeah, I
every
cast
6
it on.
seconds, every 6 seconds, I'm gonna be clicking charisma save.
Okay, well, yeah.
You can just target
Guess
him
I'll
to the
try to
corner
angle
so
it
it
so
only
it's
hits
just-
Will.
Yeah.
You
Might
could.
as
Or you could slam it down right in the center of this table.
You could just cast it on Kayla when she's turned around. No, just kidding.
But does he just willingly fail? Otherwise, it's an 18
Yeah,
save.
he willingly fails.
Maybe then.
I'm not sure how long ago, Chrome, you made that insight, but you detect nothing bad.
That was against Caitlin. I'll make another one on
Oh,
fucking.
against Caitlin?
Caitlin doing what? What am I?
Against
was-
Caitlin, no. You feel, what's it called? Not malice, but backhanded talking.
I was doing an inside check on the whole fucking situation because all I heard was fucking Caitlin apparently using swords against the party. It was
to
a very
manipulate
one-up.
them.
Yeah, it was like you just casually talking about that. And Crow's just sitting there going, "Okay, hang on."
Yes, hold up.
Against Willow, thank you.
It's weird. He's telling the truth, but from what you can tell, he's not hiding anything. Rather, he's a mercenary through and through. If you pay him well enough, and they had to pay him well, he would just give you the information. He seems friendly enough that he'd simply do the job at hand, but would do it in a basically positive manner. He has done things in his past that he doesn't like, but in the end of the day, as long as they paid him, he'll do it.
And we'll look to Ramon and just saying, I'm not one to judge, but what's saying that he's not either or going to go back to his previous workers if they offer a better deal.
Hey, Will, if your previous employers offer a better deal, are you going to go back to them?
No. That's
Tell
the
the
entire
truth.
point of the severance package. Basically, what I am doing is gambling. They paid me enough and well enough in a few things that even if the other side offered to pay me more, well, that wouldn't work in my line of work. If I am not trusted in my own line of work, then I will not get any other job. Even if it's enough to give me enough money to no longer work, my name and reputation is lost.
So you're saying that the only reason you can help us now is because your previous contract was terminated, and your current contract is indefinite.
So long as the group you're going against is still a solid. Once it's no longer that, then we can decide after. But at that point, you would have captured everyone you needed to.
Okay. Oh, yes, so your contract is until the dissolution of the Elusive Man's business.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so we want to find the Elusive Man. If you want to do that, how would you go about it?
Yes, I was about to get to that. There are 3 primary targets you need to acquire in order to find the location of the Elusive Man. The Red King, known as the Scarlet King. The Yellow King, known as, well, surprisingly enough, still the Yellow King. And the Black King, otherwise known as the Death King. There are white and there is blue, but they do their own things. White deals with life, which could come useful eventually with their plans, but right now they're banking on the Scarlet King's current predicament. And blue is more of an informant type and doesn't really like to meddle unless the end of the world scenarios happen. As this is in that regard, he has decided to, or she, don't really know their actual form, if they even have one, has decided to help out in this matter and contacted me. For the primary reason why they worked together, they were seeking power after something was about to happen. When they were working, or when they contracted me, they were looking for blades known as shards of sin, and items of virtue. They were going to collect these items in order to, how should I phrase this, awaken an ancient god back from the dead. These weapons long ago were used to fight the gods when they decided to not be the best of people. And these weapons themselves can also resurrect gods, as long as you have all of them with you. However, they also wanted to make sure that they could rule over this area as well. In doing so, they also needed an army. Right now, since they don't have all the blades, for some reason they're missing 2, they have decided to work on the army situation first and foremost.
2 shards of sin, or items of virtue, or 2 of both?
Shards of sin. The items of virtue, I don't know how many they have. That wasn't my department. But they seem to be more interested in awakening the army they found, is how they put it.
Wait, so they're not recruiting an army. They're raising some sort of magical or undead army?
They're waking one up. Roughly around 20 years ago, entities from the past, not from this coast but from another, defeated a woman known as Mother. However, they were never really able to find out her army whereabouts. Unfortunately, that was lost to them. The entity known as Elusive was there at the time, as well as were other entities. It took some time, but he was able to find this army. But they were in some sort of stasis. Similar to the same way the... He pauses for a second. Not as if he's trying to keep the truth from you, just how much the entire group is aware of the truth. Much like in the same way other entities can be chained or binded. So they looked into how to awaken these things. And right now, the Scarlet King, or the Red King, is finding these, how should I phrase them? Crystals. The crystals themselves can be imbibed with some sort of false soul. This is one way that they have decided to awaken these things. Unfortunately, they weren't able to acquire some sort of, how should I put this? Some non-stasis field spell? I really don't know how they phrased it. But apparently, if something was placed in some sort of containment, they weren't able to find that non-containment spell. Again, not really my department.
Anti-stasis, a magical null bomb.
Not the exact words I'd use, but yes, something like that. But beyond that, they had decided to go and venture elsewhere. The thing that they're trying to awaken, or the thing that they want to awaken, is known, what was formerly known as a war god. It's tied and bind to another entity, but I don't really know who that or what that entity is. One of our newer companions, well, one of my former newer companions, had more intel on that, but didn't really speak with them. Don't really know too much about them, other than their name's Archer. That's about it.
And what do you think they would do if they found this link entity?
They would need to find all the blades to awaken this thing, so I highly doubt they would, but if they do, they'd likely awaken it and begin the war again.
Well, the entity that is linked to the god, they are looking for her, or it?
No,
Yeah.
they just know that it's with this thing. If they wake one up, they'll awaken the other. Which is
You know
why
who's in,
Archer has decided to help us. Yes, go on.
you know who's in specific possession of each of these sin blades?
I'm afraid I don't know that specifically. I know that 2 are currently in their possession, but there are 5 others that they acquired through not so well means. Before the whole situation inside the city in Haven, month or so prior, they attacked an ancient tower, and there they found some, I believe he was a halfling, don't really know the entire details, was carrying a good amount of these blades. Unfortunately, they were prepared and fully ready, and while they didn't kill the entity in question, they did acquire the blades at hand. The blades themselves are needed to awaken this thing.
Karim's just, soon as he says that, he's gonna look over to Ramon and, like, raise an eyebrow.
An oversight of the department's part.
It's not my department, but from what I can tell, 2
No,
entities,
looking at Ramon.
2 entities from my former section were attacked not too long ago. while this is the first I've heard that they possess these blades, it is something that is not a lie, as they were attacked not too long ago. Currently, they're not in Section 9, I assume, but they are in Haven being taken care of.
Anything specific about these people we should know about?
One of them is looking for their family, and the other seems to be more in the entertainment business. I don't really know, to be perfectly honest, too much more, as they were very secretive and wanted to simply
Inciting the shit out of that.
go for it. And simply just worked hand in hand in tandem. From what you can tell, he's telling the truth. From what you can tell, he's telling the truth.
I mean, he knows Mixie's entire backstory.
Yeah. He knows a good amount of Mixie's backstory. It's not like it's if he's hiding something. It's more like this is a personal thing. 2 nat 20s in the row. Oh, yeah. Again, it seems to be telling the truth. Lady Sky, you can tell that he is not really holding anything back. More like there are things that have been told to him that are personal situation. It's not as if he's telling or not telling you the truth. More like people have secrets. Secrets are kept. If it was that important to the mission, he would have told you. But it's not.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That being
So
said, Nesmin and Mixie are technically in the hospital right now. They're awake now, but they are in the hospital. Caitlin, I don't know if you're inciting this, but from what you can tell, he's telling the truth.
I'm not inciting anything.
You were just staring at him, so I just wanted to know.
I was staring at Ramon,
Yeah.
lioness. I thought that was Will talking.
okay, so they have 5 shards of sin. Do you know where they are?
From what I can tell, they have been dispersed out into the group. They don't know the other 2 whereabouts of the blades, so they're not really keen on awakening this thing without, well, first, having the ability to awaken, and second, if they don't have all the items of virtue, not even able to control the thing.
So shards of sin awaken the god, shards of virtue control it.
Shards of sin can kill or revive. The items of virtue can control or unbind.
Okay.
At least that's the information I've been given.
Alright, so there are 3 factions, or is the Elusive Man himself a different faction from the Red, Yellow, and Black Kings?
They all work in tandem, but you need each of their keys to get to the location of the Elusive Man. So far, the closest one that I can tell you about is known as the Scarlet King. Right now, he's at the Hell's Mountain Pass collecting these crystals, or these pseudo-souls, if you will. These crystals are often used to awaken Warforge. And, what are they called again? Techno-organic life forms, similar to your synthetic life forms in the R&D department. Thinking back, you did notice that a few people, air quotes, in the R&D department didn't exactly look natural.
One was a cleric.
One was a cleric.
Plus, we met that guy who was a half machine, half elf or something.
Yeah.
So they're mining these crystals. Do the crystals have to be charged with souls, or do the crystals have souls themselves?
The crystals themselves have some sort of pseudo soul embedded into it. Let's see here. He then presents documents out, from what I've been able to manage to grab, the souls themselves aren't exactly real and not exactly false. They have been bound into the crystals after a loss of life or a mass loss of life. It's not that hard to do in the Forbidden Zone. And these crystals are able to bind in and delve into the soul. These souls can be plants, creatures, animals, humanoids, and the like, so long as it lives. They plan to use these crystals and embed it into the bodies of the army.
So because they cannot awaken them with the shards, they're going to do it with these crystals?
They can't awaken with a spell that they weren't able to learn, but they can with these. It'd be the same way a wizard, while high ranked, would be able to awaken a warforge.
I assume this is a fairly large operation then?
Surprisingly enough, no, it is a handful. If it was rather large, they would have likely been spotted by now, as it is in the Hells Mountains Pass, in the terrain of the, I believe they called it an ancient red dragon. Well, not an ancient, but an adult. According to the reports, it's currently taking care of the offspring of other dragons, as most of the dragons out here have been culled. They have been rather territorial in situations such as this, so they've rather kept the situation small.
So they themselves are trying to avoid the attention of the dragon.
If need be. If I had to guess, they could easily take out a dragon or two, but right now it's the Den Mother is taking care of the younglings, if you will. For a while there, it somehow disappeared. We don't really know what happened, but it came back.
Is this our dragon?
It's your
I
dragon.
wonder. Yeah. Chrome says something. Will, how much would you know about connections that each of the kings possess with the other groups or organizations?
Not British enough.
Yes, alright, mate.
Oh.
Will, how much would you know?
That's what they sound to me.
Each
I'll
king
kill
is-
you, George.
Each king is able to, how should I phrase this, detect one another. Even in great distances, each of them have a key, similar to the keys you all possess, I assume. Ramon holds up 2 shards. Well, 2 crystals. One basically to help Will get in, the other one is his own. Similar to this, I assume? Yes, similar to this. But they're more armbands, I believe. Take one of these armbands and you can likely find the next. I can tell you where they've been, but right now, unless you get the crystal, I can't detect where they are now. The only reason why I know the Red King is whereabouts is because I met up with his daughter before arriving here. Nice kid, little young, to run the entire situation, but right now
Actually-
the Scarlet King is doing things.
Actually, I think we've been given to understand that it is the princess who's sort of running the show, so to speak.
Yes, while the Scarlet King is helping out this organization, his daughter is currently working his job. You can go
And so is it her that is at the impasse or her incompetent father?
her father. And while I wouldn't say he's incompetent, well, he's incompetent father, yes, he can still probably beat you up.
Okay.
Safe
So
to say there's not a very high chance to convert him to our side, is there?
Right now, I would say it's roughly a uphill fight.
So, what do we need from the Red King?
Would there be any chance we have anyone on the inside working with any of the kings, Ramon? Ramon does state, I can inquire more information about the Blue King, but right now I don't really know about anyone. There have been agents that have worked for the Black King, but the only one that I know of no longer works for them. They cut ties. And I really doubt they want to go back so soon. I will ask, but I really doubt it. While you're typing, Will does state to Baroff, you do need the armband in order for me to locate the next king. Beyond that, if you could persuade them, as you've made mention, maybe it's possible, but it'd give you a better chance of fighting the next one. They each have their own specialty weapon, so if you manage to take that, it could also help you. But that's only if you manage to take them down.
Okay.
Honestly, right?
Dethrone a king is never easy.
Quite right. Honestly, the armband's the only important thing. If you decide to take them down, that is up to you. But right now, I am just helping you get to the big target.
Okay, so armband is primary. What does Chrome have to say? Would
Perhaps
there be
one of the
anyone
first
that
plans
would...
that comes to mind is trying to have someone infiltrate and go in as they're out. Will does state they are a very tight-knit group. While that is possible, it is likely not probable. Unless it's someone that's new themselves, they would likely not be so keen on letting anyone inside. But they do have sentries posted. And if you take one of them down, you could probably go inside as them. But there's only so many people there. So if one leaves their post, contact would likely be quick between members. So if you do that route, it'll likely have to be quick about it. And while the Red King isn't exactly the best father, he's not exactly stupid. He deals with mercenaries, and he is the main... How should I phrase this? Middleman to any mercenary that's looking for a job and the like. He basically runs his own army at the end of the day.
So the man, although quote-unquote not as competent as his daughter, has raised one of the most successful mercenary companies that this land has ever seen.
Yes, his daughter is a lot more intelligent than he, but he is not stupid.
He is also mercenary. He will pick the side he thinks is going to win.
Quite right. And right now, it is not ours. At least not yet. He doesn't use magic though, so I can tell you that much. He deals with mainly physical slashing, bludgeoning, but he also doesn't take too much damage himself.
And his mercenaries, do they use magic?
Some of them do, but not all. If I had to wager, a few of them might have elemental abilities since you are entering into a live volcano site. But beyond that, beyond fire, you shouldn't have too much more issue.
Oh, well, so the mine is in a volcano. Okay, that's good information.
Yes.
That's what the Hellsmat Impasse is. Sure, I mean that.
I mean, I gave you guys this information a while ago, so not that surprising. that you forgot. He then states, beyond this, though, if there's nothing else, and since some of you clearly don't have a distinctive feel for me, I can wait outside while you discuss the plans.
Last thing. You worked with the elusive man personally? In the case of, do you know what his abilities are?
I met him once. And honestly, I don't even know if I truly met him. But I did see his form once. He is different. From what I can tell, he's able to bend and weave things to his own desire. Able to change the way things ebb and flow. If I had to guess, this is his way of trying to protect the world from itself. But he himself is, as the name suggests, elusive. If you want to take him down, I suggest you give it your all. If I had to wager, you're all here for a reason, whether it's money, whether it's your own vendetta. And if I had to wager, he might be a part of your vendetta. Whether you know it or not, his skills and abilities are a very good mystery. According to even some money I spent out on the Blue King, even they have a hard time figuring him out. The only thing the Blue King has been able to acquire from said hearsay is that they deal with a heavy assortment of magic, and one of their specialty is time and illusion. And those in tandem are very hard to beat. But I highly doubt that's all they possess.
Mm.
You know, when I'm reminded, the one time we saw the Lazarus Project work, there was almost a time skip. And it seems like the Lazarus Project was one of their targets.
Yes.
Any insights there, Ramon? Or Will? Sure, yeah, Will, go.
Ramon does state, yes, according to my information and the targets they've hit, the Lazarus Project was one of them. One of them was also finding information on how to teleport outside of safeguard positions. Well, it states, yes, that was one of the missions I was assigned, to house and make a blueprint of the portal they escaped through. While it will take time for them to build it, they could eventually create portals all their own. If I had to guess and wager, this is also a way to get the army into the safeguard cities. So there's that. But in case they aren't able to get into these locations easily enough, they also acquired blueprints to prototype vehicles. Well, I don't exactly know, not my department to investigate. I know that they went and explored these venues out and are currently trying to replicate these prototype vehicles. So they're arming themselves, making it easier to enter inside these safeguard zones, and in case they aren't able to just teleport there or to specific locations, they are making vehicles to get there without too much issue. So that's a thing.
Okay, so yeah, we have to nip this in the bud, huh?
Ramon then continues. Yes. Yes, we do. Will then states, well, if there's nothing else, or if you need me, I'll be outside. Ramon then states, let me walk you out. You kind of can't leave unless I walk you out.
one more thing before we go. Did you already tell us the names of everyone on your squad before? Their full true names? I mean, now you can tell.
I only know a few of their names. Their true names are well hidden.
I think you introduced us to their code names. Thank you, though.
Yes, the one known as Rox is a Rakshasta. Magic is hard to pin him down. You need quite amount of strength to do that. They're a lieutenant in the organization, but they're not that high up there, which tells you a few things. Farah the Fox, her codename is Fox, but her true name is Farah. She deals with illusion magic herself. So whatever you see about her is likely not her. She is one of the actual high-ranking members of the organization. But she's not necessarily a target you have to go out and find. The kings are your primary targets to locate the elusive man. Archer I've mentioned before, but I don't really know too much about them. They're new. The only reason why they decided to help us is because we told them we were trying to awaken a god tied to another being. It's as if they're fighting in tandem. For some reason, they were very interested in this. Gavin is unfortunately dead. The man that you were traveling with was technically one of our agents. He was to deliver the badge once you left the city. However, we found another badge just floating in the city after one of your agents, I assume. I believe they went by Cerberus. Just handed off a badge to a child. If we left the city, they would have likely have found or noticed us. So, I suppose this helped us in the end. But unfortunately, the people that found the child kind of killed him. So there's that.
So that rumor was true then.
Unfortunately. And thanks to the blueprints they stole quite some time ago, they were able to replicate these badges and enter inside without an issue. So there was that. And if memory serves, because of the blueprints they found prior to all this, the one biological weapon you have, Ramon states, she does have a name. It is Millie. She is my daughter. Right. Because of the blueprints you found of your daughter, I believe they're also going to change the army to allow these abilities to be infused into them. So there's that.
So we're on a bit of a time crunch then.
Basically, if we target each king as quickly as possible, the army won't be awakened and you'll be able to find the man responsible. So
Should perhaps figure out which abilities with which king come first. I know that blue is intelligence and black is death, but I'm not quite sure about the others.
Red is definitely strength.
But we only know where the Red King is. We don't know where the others are.
Black
Through
deals
the
with-
red and we'll find the others.
Black does deal with death, and with Blue's help, I am sure I'm able to find more. Ramon states. Yellow, however, is hard to pin down. From what we can tell, they deal with arcane magic, but how should I phrase this? More ritualistic. So we're still figuring that out. However,
Ritualistic as in the cultish style, or ritualistic as in more old-fashioned magic?
Old fashioned.
honestly, a little bit of both. we've not really narrowed down how they're able to do this, but they're able to use magic that shouldn't be possible.
Point taken.
Especially here, there are limitations to what magic can do, especially in the Forbidden Zone, as most of the area has been wiped clean of magic, especially towards humans. However, this entity, the Yellow King, is able to bypass most of the laws. We're still trying to figure out how they do that, but with Blue's help, I'm sure we can gather more information on them. But honestly, Ramon then states, if you're dealing with death and you're dealing with the arcane, your best bet is likely to deal with the strength one.
Look with what we have for now and keep going after that. So yes, best plan would be to go with the one we know the most about right now.
As you say that, Will does put down a map. This is the location of where you'll find them. But if there's nothing else, I'll be waiting outside. I'm sure you want to discuss things not with the, he puts up air quotes, enemy listening in. Ramon does walk him out because that's the only way he's able to leave.
Versky will
Amelia
give him a nod as he leaves.
Amelia will follow them out.
Yeah, I'll say bye.
Yeah, he does wave bye to Relta. He did mean to call, but he was technically busy.
And I'm gonna taunt her about it. It's too bad he didn't call you back, Relta.
When he has free time. I mean, I'm pretty busy right now too, so it's alright.
That's okay. Keep yourself busy with work.
If only you would just be honest with us.
Said the woman who immediately had to rush in and cook us dinner to keep herself busy.
You do see that Will stops by the tree and just hangs right there? But he's outside of the house.
Yeah, Realty stared at that tree for a while. What goes with that?
Oh yeah, there's a dryad, is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a dryad in there. It's dormant right now, and
What's the Fae doing all the way out here?
it doesn't seem. Wait, you said it seemed like it didn't want to hurt us or anything?
No, it seemed dormant. It didn't seem like it was trying to attack you.
Yeah. Just sleeping. But yeah, so I don't know what you guys want to do about that, but there's that out there.
Around this time, Ramon does step inside. So he missed that entire thing.
Oh. I'm definitely gonna. I wanted to tell him earlier, so when he comes back, you guys don't say anything, I will.
Okay. Ramon then does state, oh, you mean the dryad? Yes. She provides the house with the grains, the produce. She does a little bit of hunting now and again with whatever comes by that's edible, and provides the kitchen with these meals we get provided. But since she actually hasn't needed to, she's been laying dormant for some time. In fact,
there we go.
And she recycles anything that we place in the trash cans.
She should be well fed.
I'm sure. Did you place a lot in there?
Yes.
Then yes. But that aside, Will has, surprisingly enough, stepped outside and stayed with the tree. Oh, the Dryad is also a security system. So if there was actual threat about, she would have likely have taken it down, or at least warned us about it.
So that's handy.
Interesting.
But on the matter of the mine that we have to assault, I mean, it seems there are two obvious approaches: stealth and brute force. But then there's also the matter of the dragon to consider. Could be an asset.
It'll be easier to talk to once I'm stronger and I become the Rider of Frost.
I can talk to dragons now, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean to say that we could necessarily, get it to do our bidding or anything. Simply that the idea of people mining in its territory might be something it doesn't like.
It may
So
not
Will-
like us talking to it even more.
Did Will leave the map with us?
He did.
Okay, then Chrome has the map in front of him and he's just kind of like has his finger on it. He's kind of like in his head, but also physically doing it, trying to figure out ways of getting around certain situations.
Okay. Because you're looking at the map, you do detect. Well, you don't detect, but you do see that there are 5 sections within the map. The map. There's basically a bridge leading towards the area that is a skull set on flame. There's a drawbridge, but you're not sure if it would be up or down when you get there. The second section is a sentry outpost. You're not sure what's there. Will just placed a giant X there, which was weird. From what you can tell, he also drew something, and it's hard to detect what it is. Or hard to tell what it is.
Can I make as much of a memorization of the map as possible?
Roll perception?
Maybe a
Ah,
history
yay. I'm
to
good
try
at
and figure out
perceptions.
what that thing he drew was.
Roll insight.
Well, we know he's still out by the tree, right?
Yeah. From what you can tell, it looks like a creature. Your best guess is either a giant monster-like creature, or you can just go outside and ask him. But from what you can tell, it's a creature, not a person. Let's see, you rolled a 26. You are able to get a rudimentary.
I have advantage on the rolls. I have an item that gives me advantage.
You have what?
An item that gives me advantage on perception checks.
Okay. Yeah, you basically have the map down. You don't really need it. You are able to memorize even the weird things that Will wrote down or scribbled, really. You just may not know what they are. But if you had to guess, maybe enemies. The next section appears to be a way going up the mountain. You see 3 mean faces on there. He's not exactly an artist. The next section after that appears to be another bridge, but this area is a more open area from what you can tell, the way he drew it. It does seem to have like a nest-like pattern, and over the nest appears to be a bridge, a rope bridge. If you had to guess, this might be I think it's called the caldera? Either way, the hole where volcano is.
That's a caldera, yes.
Yes. The next section.
Although it might technically be a settled one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. The next area is the last one, which is the mining facility. You at least see 7 entities there, or at least 7 scribbles that represent humanoids. And giant crystals, you think, They look like rudimentary drawings of crystals.
Well, I mean, Byroth will also try to memorize it, but then just should we get Will back in here to annotate the map? Yeah. It's hard to make a plan with a map that's just, what could that be? I don't know.
While you ask this, Tallow does state, do you mind if I see?
We'll hand over the map.
Okay. He places it down in an area not filled by food, and then goes, I think this is a beast or dragon-like creature in the first section. Sorry, in the second section. I think it might be a guard. So if we avoid the area altogether, we won't likely be spotted. But I don't know how well this beast, maybe a dragon, I think, is able to see. The second one, I think they're people, or at least humanoids. From what I can tell, this one looks like a dwarf. It looks smaller than other things. But the weird beard he drew looks like it's on fire. So maybe it has fire ability. And this one kind of looks like Rust, but bulkier. Rust is kind of a little grumbled by that, but goes, do you mean bigger? Yeah, bigger. The other one...
Do they have tails?
No, I don't think so. Then it's not something like me. If I had to guess, maybe a Dragonborn? Maybe. The other one looks like a big, angry face. I don't know what this one is.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the map. Don't know if that went through.
Sorry, what about the map?
Was there any writing on the map?
There is like small scribbles here and there. In the next section, there's scribbles.
What language was it in?
Common. It's just
Okay.
very hard to read.
So he did write it in common, he didn't write it in any suspicious language. It's good to know.
From what you can tell now,
He just has doctor handwriting.
basically, yeah. Do you have Thieves' Cant?
I can read any language. But I do have Thieves' Cant as well.
Yeah, I think specifically you need Thieves' Cant to read Thieves' Cant. The same way you need that Druid language to speak that Druid language. But from what you
Chrome cannot read it then.
But you said you have Thieves' Cant.
Yeah, no, sorry, that was Camellia that has it, not Chrome.
Oh. Actually, Drake's there. Drake then states, in the next portion of the map. Okay, first off, I am part of an underground network. You can ask questions if you want. But according to the next notes, it does seem to have... what he wrote is circling life surrounding the area. But in Thieves' Cant, he wrote down likely where dragons will be nesting. I don't know why he wrote it in Thieves' Cant, though.
Are they all annotated?
No, just the next part. If I had to guess, they wrote it in a weird common to warn you about a nest, but the second part was more than likely hearsay, but didn't want to give you the information in case it was bad. We can ask him, he's outside, but that's all it says. Here might be where the dragons lay. And in common, regular standard, it reads, likely nesting ground.
Well, I mean, he was very forthright. We could just ask him to explain the map.
More than likely. Tello then states, the next part seems to be humanoids mining. There is some words here. It says crystal life. Drake looks at it and goes, there's nothing else in between those words.
Well, that's got to be the life crystals they're mining.
Tello then states, I don't think so. It's written differently. If I had to guess, he doesn't know
Should I
himself.
Should I go get him?
Drake states, if you want.
I mean, it's his map, but does anyone object to me going to get him?
I don't know why he left the room.
No objections here.
I don't object.
Then we're gonna go get him.
Okay, Ramon gives
Speaking of which, sorry. Just quickly, how dirty is this room still?
I did not clean this
Well,
room.
the other three clean this room, but
Okay.
it's not 100% clean.
Hey, that chair right there is fucking pristine. It's obviously Caitlin's.
Room is fucking standing up and finishing the job, goddammit.
And there's
that
nothing else we want to talk about with him out of the room before we continue.
How did you enjoy your meal?
It was mediocre.
Shame.
Byroth,
Your
you're able
food
to
nice, they come.
grab Ramon's safeguard key, get Will back in here. Will's easily able
He's
to
like-
return.
Kaylin, I was lying. The meal was delicious.
I know.
See, I told you the truth.
But before line.
Will returns. Do you need something?
We were examining this map of yours, and it seems rather occult in its.
Sorry, the daughter wrote it down.
Who now?
Oh wait, it's been. How long does truth?
10 minutes.
It's been
Do
more
I
than
have
10
to hit him
minutes.
with it again?
If you want, it's just a stupid lie.
I don't think we can afford supplies. I'll blow another spell slot.
Okay. From what you can tell, he stopped and then goes, the daughter wrote it down, but I drew the pictures to help. That was it. He's just a bad drawer. But looking at it, he does state, this is the information she was able to give me. Apparently, they're not completely against the dragons. They were able to coerce one into helping them, but just one. The others are likely not aware of the situation. But if I had to guess, the first thing she told me is that they have the dragon that they coerced in the front line to likely keep new people from entering inside. The next area is 3 people currently standing guard. A Durgar, a dwarf with fire abilities, a dragonborn, and from what I can tell, a strange creature that was able to coerce the dragon. I don't really know what it was. The next section was the possible nest, so I drew a little nest area. She took her time writing it down, so I don't really know why she took so much time, but that's all I know of it. The next area was the mining area, and from what I can tell, she wrote down something else as well. From my report she gave me, she mentioned living crystal. If I had to guess, it was the crystals, but the way she phrased it, it might be other life forms that are from the crystal born. But I've never been there myself personally, so watch out for anything living. After all, the crystals can house souls, so who knows what type of souls they've housed.
And this is everything you know about the map?
Yes.
Okay, and the nesting area, that's just where you think they would nest?
That's what she's phrased it as.
And the daughter you're referring to is the Scarlet Princess?
Yes, she wrote down my notes. She wrote down the notes. I just simply drew a few things here and there to help me remember.
And she did this while you were in the service of the Elusive Man?
At the tail end of it.
How recent is the...
A week ago?
That's pretty good. Okay. Anyone else have questions? I think that's basically it.
Okay. You basically escort him out.
Okay.
You
Okay,
can
so
roll
we
back
know...
the safeguard key. And Ramon then states, so we basically know where our first target is. Spend the night, rest, and tomorrow we are heading out. It's a lot sooner than I had mentioned or had hoped, but the sooner we get this done, the faster we can get back home. Are there any
No. I'm curious about one important thing that I think that everyone in this room may be curious about. Who brought this gargoyle in here?
My uncle?
Guy who brought everything in here?
Why did he leave it here?
He gave me the residence.
Dogma, I have a question to ask you. I
Go for it.
might whisper it to you instead. Well, I was about to say, can I do a history check on the gargoyle to see what kind of demon it is?
Sure.
Would it be religion?
It would probably be insight or religion, really. Ramon then does state there is another statue in the workshop, if you're interested in that, but it's quite loud in there.
Please let it just be a statue of the uncle.
Giving the 2 thumbs up.
From what you can tell, this is a statue of a pit fiend. A high-ranking demon in the 9 circles of hell, or the abyss. What's it doing here? It's a little weird.
I'm gonna find out something real quick. I'm about to... that thing right now.
I was about to say, Chrome's just gonna sniff slightly to see if we can smell blood on it at all.
You don't smell any blood or old blood. Caitlin, you don't sense a presence around the statue. You sense everyone else in the room. Except for Drake for some reason.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's a little weird. But everyone else you sense. Or can see, really. But the statue itself doesn't possess any outside appearances or fiend or undead markers. It's just a statue. It's just weird that it's here, but it's just a statue.
Yeah, that's definitely cursed.
Ramon then states he had a knack for the macabre and cult things. He also had a knack for not macabre things, the opposite, dealing with celestials and the like. He was eccentric. That's honestly all I know about him, really.
Just a common courtesy question, does he have an attic or a basement by any chance?
I never looked.
He seems like a basement,
There is a second
basement kind of guy.
floor, but I don't know about an attic or a basement.
Okay,
Never
well,
seen one.
Chrome's just gonna say, don't worry, I've got this, and he's going to... I need to see how long this lasts real quick.
That's what I think it is 10 minutes.
He's
Probably
going to
10
walk
minutes.
around the entire house and look through every wall and roof he can with This
For a minute.
activated. I think it has a time limit. I don't know.
Turn. Single turn use.
Oh,
Those darn short rest abilities at it again.
that'd be a quick glance.
I mean, he'll do it in this room first, specifically on the statue.
In this room, you don't really see anything, or at least nothing out of, what's it called? Out of place. Except Drake, he seems a little to the left, if that makes sense.
It's the diamond!
No, if you had to guess, he has some sort of item on him.
Yeah. Chrome doesn't find that too weird. He just takes note and is just like,
If you had to guess, he might have some sort of item that's has other people hard to hit. No, that doesn't make sense.
Cloak of displacement.
Basically, or something else similar.
I don't know, that mask screams either magical or edgy. I'm leaning both.
Ramon then does state, we can look at this tonight or in the evening if you'd like, but I would like you all to rest. Tomorrow will be a big day, and if there are no objections, I suggest we head into the Hell's Mountains Pass.
I'll be in this chair if anyone needs me.
So
I made the food, so someone else has to clean it up.
will be Chrome's job. While he's doing his rest to try and get that ability back.
I do not like water.
Tallow and Ula help. Rust, you can
I
see
would
that
help
he...
clean.
Awesome. With all of your help, you can tell that your half of the table is easily well cleaned. But while you were doing that, Rust pretty much took care of the rest. So, this is where we'll end, and we'll pick it up next time with everyone either long resting, or who knows what else in the middle of the night, as we end the session for the day.